Here's the shocking truth that most healthcare executives do not want to admit. Every day, a skilled healthcare professional is walking away from their career not because they found a better job or better pay, but because they simply cannot take the burnout anymore. This is a $100 billion crisis. But we actually have solutions that are able to solve this crisis. And how they do it might not be what you think. Welcome to Provider's Edge, the podcast that helps healthcare entrepreneurs and innovators break down barriers and control their business, life, and future with valuable action steps. With me, your host, Sabrina Runbeck, a recovered clinician and a business deal catalyst. Let's rewrite the rules and create a positive social impact while increasing your profitability. As a cardiothoracic surgery PA who has experienced burnout myself, I know these statistics are not just numbers, and they are reality. And that's what stopped in my track when I was at Vive earlier this year, interviewing different executive and solution providers on what they are doing that actually help people who are clinicians to reduce the amount of work that they have to put in, improve the workflow, makes things simpler, make us feel more secure about our jobs, and making us feel more joyful again in doing what we thought we loved to do, but not how we do it anymore. When I talked to Atul Singh from LG Health, we actually discovered that nurses spend on average 2 hours out of 12-hour shift for documentation, sometimes even longer. Now, those times could be critical to actually respond to the patient care themselves. LG Health has discovered an AI-empowered way of allowing nurses to monitor more patients and then free up the best nurses to provide more in-person care. Let's hear from Atul on how they're able to create this solution in inpatient systems. Hi, this is Sabrina Runbeck with Caregiving Worldwide Network. We're here at Vive, and we're here with Atul Singh from LG Health. Thank you so much for joining us.
Of course. Happy to be here.
We would love to hear about your stories on what is LG Health's focus and how did you guys decide that, hey, healthcare is such a critical area that we wanted to tap into?
Absolutely. So LG's vision, as you may have seen in our consumer publications also, is around the idea of innovating for a better life. So that means how do we improve the life of everybody that we touch, whether it's the patient, the provider, the customer, or the consumer of our services. So with that vision in mind, we launched a suite of virtual care services in the hospitals and also in post-acute care facilities, long-term care facilities, and ultimately in the home. And by that, I mean what we are doing is we are bringing solutions into the hospital that improves how care is provided by the providers, as well as how care is received by the patient. And when I say patient, it's broader than just the patient. Of course, it's the caregivers also that are equally impacted by the medical episode that the patient is experiencing. So the solution, what it allows us to do, or allows the hospitals to do, is be able to optimize their staff. As you probably are aware, hospitals are going through staff shortage, and it's an endemic problem, as well as staff burnout. So the solutions we have brought in place improves the user experience for the clinicians, the user experience for the patient who's being treated, as well as for the caregivers. So the caregivers in particular we are interested in is at the point of discharge. When the patient is leaving the hospital, they're either going to a rehab or to their home. A lot of information is provided typically to the patient and their caregivers in that context. The patient clearly is not able to receive all that information and be receptive to it because of just the volume of information that is provided. So what we are trying to do is streamline that process so that when the nurse or the nurse practitioner or the pharmacist is discharging the patient from the hospital, they are able to provide information in smaller chunks that the patient and the caregiver can then absorb it, take it with them to the home, and be able to provide better care for the patient.
Yes, from a clinician perspective, I definitely burned out earlier on in my career, and then truly start shifting into different way of how can we make sure our teams are not revolving doors. We're constantly getting new staffing, and then if we have these constant disruption, it's a financial burden on the hospital or clinic system, as well as there's no continuation of care to the patients. And when we're thinking about having the solution to be able to flow through the system, to better engage, having better staffing that's there critically caring for our patients, that is so critical in delivering the high quality care that the patients and caregivers do deserve. And it's amazing for you guys to wrap at the end of ready to discharge. We want people to go home. We want them to not stay in the hospital, get better, to be able to disseminate those information. So what is some of the best practices you guys have seen works really well with that patient and caregivers subset?
So what we are noticing is within the hospital context or even the post-acute, what we are seeing is the information needs to be provided upfront, early and often, and then broken down into chunks that are consumable by the patient and the caregiver. And if you do it, let's say the patient is about to be discharged 3 days post, then you need to start the education process early so that, and repeat it a few times because not everybody is as clinically or medically savvy when the terms are being described or the care plan is being described or the medication regimen is being described. So it needs to be repeated a few times and then also be able to give them a location where they can go back to refer to the information if they have missed something along the way. So the other piece I just want to add is through the technology that we have installed in the patient rooms, nurses are able to connect with the bedside nurse. So imagine a remote nurse talking to a bedside nurse for a variety of things, whether it's a dual signature, dual sign-off, or even just charting for some of the activities that are happening in the room. For example, an IV bag is being changed, and the nurse needs to capture that into the patient records. So the bedside nurse may not have to spend that time, but a remote nurse could easily do the same for them.
Exactly. It's cutting down that admin type of workflow, and that is really getting away from actually direct patient care. So you're helping the on-site nurses to be able to spend more time with the patients where that's where they should be focusing on.
Right. And that's what we noticed, that quite a bit of their time, almost 15%, 18%, somewhere in that neighborhood, they're spending on administrative tasks. So if we can offload those tasks in the background through technology, it frees them up to provide care for the patients, which is what they love. So that's what we are doing in the hospitals.
That's amazing. And how are you disseminating the discharging information in smaller chunks for the patients and caregivers?
So there are multiple ways we are looking into it. Some of our are somewhat AI enabled, where we are able to break down information and make it contextually relevant for the individual so that they can consume it at the time when they are most receptive to it, at the time of their choosing, and the location. So, and they could review it multiple times, whether in the hospital or in the home or post-acute, wherever they end up after leaving the hospital. So there are multiple ways we are breaking down the information. We, of course, not we, but hospitals still give out printouts of everything that the patient needs to follow. But we are augmenting that with other types of solutions, whether they are video, audio, or otherwise.
Right, digestible things, because everyone learns different methods. So you can have different methods of learning and training so they can truly understand. And then when they understand better, they can actually adapt and do it. And not, this paper, I lost it. And which is a lot of time, we review these medication lists, but we lost the paper. To be truly tailored to where they are at and meet them where they needed to be. So how have you guys been truly going to market to make sure all these solutions are being in the right hands so people can actually gain the benefits?
So that is something that is interesting in the sense that the workflows have already been established for a very long time on how the patient intake happens, how the patient is monitored in the med-surg units, how the patient is then ultimately discharged. So for us to take out some of the workflow pieces and bring in technology that could, I shouldn't say replace, but augment it so that it frees up the human that is taking care of the patient in the hospital. So our effort has been to reduce the back-end administrative tasks, whether, like I said, they are around instructions to the patient, whether it's about a nurse monitoring the patient or even a physician doing virtual rounding. So the physician in a campus type setting, if you imagine, they can beam into the patient room depending on their acuity level and be able to do the rounding as opposed to physically coming in every single day to watch the patient. So that's one area where we are working very closely with hospitals. The other is telesitting. So this is where a remote nurse could monitor up to 16 patients. So depending on which wing or which department they want to deploy these solutions that we bring to market, a remote nurse could be monitoring 16 at a time and be able to alert the floor nurse if an intervention is needed. So that saves time on the floor nurse and gives the hospital a lot more flexibility in how to deploy their staff, how to utilize their staff and maximize the patient care.
Sure, because some floors, they have the unit telemedicine person on site and all they do is watching all these monitors versus the other time the nurse have to be responsible for it. Now, pushing any new technology out there has its challenges. If we're giving you a magic wand, all of a sudden this one big thing just go away and then everything truly can move forward and getting everything out there for LG Health, what would that be?
I would say it'll be regulatory frameworks. Typically what we notice is the speed of innovation, the speed at which we are bringing new technology into the market outpaces regulatory policies, frameworks, guidelines. So we always have to backtrack a bit in order to match with what the current guidelines and regulations are, so that we are appropriately deploying the technologies in the hospital for patient safety and making sure that it's properly adopted. The speed of regulations would be something that we would love if they could catch up with the speed of innovation.
Yes, for sure. It's how do we help from a policy perspective and be able to support this end so the patients are able to get the best resources and have a way to get paid for it. And then the hospital system can also be honored for all these implementation they do. Now, we're at Vive. Everyone loves events. And so what truly brought you to Vive and what are you hoping to get out of Vive?
So at Vive, we are meeting with a lot of potential clients here and just exposing our services, our solution, our platform to them, learning from them what exactly are the true pain points that they are seeing. And again, we are more focused on acute and post-acute at this point. So we are working with health system administrators, decision makers to understand what are their immediate needs that they're trying to solve for and how best LG can meet them.
Perfect. It's, again, meeting people where they needed to be and provide the solutions and be able to truly be the leader in the innovation space. Great. So how can people learn more about you guys and search from their own benefit or connect to the right people to get more information?
Absolutely. So if you go on lgnova.com, that is the website where you'll be able to see digital health solutions that we bring to market and who's using it, how they're using it, and so on.
Perfect. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching this, and thank you for sharing.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Is your organization already being able to implement different AI-empowered tools to be able to cut down the workflow from clinicians and able to actually pay more attention to individual patient? What do you think about what LG Health has done so far? Would it be something that you're curious enough to actually try it out, or something you would say, hey, sounds good, but not now? And we wanted to hear from you why now, or how come you really wanted to do to implement and get discovering their solutions. Comment below so we can have a great conversation. If you believe you have a great story to tell, then we want to hear from you. Postpoint Impact Award have just launched. with winners being presented in multiple venture capitalists who are impact-driving companies wanting to support the growing phase of healthcare solutions to the next phase. Apply as a contestant, go to postpointpath.com/awards. And on top of that, many of us who are the leading voices in healthcare are partnered up to be able to feature the 6 winners on various podcasts within our field, as well as business magazines, press release, and also connect you with acting coaches to make you sound and look best on camera, as well as when you're pitching for funding. So go to postpointpath.com/award. We can't wait to see you being in the spotlight. Now let's move on to the second half of our conversation. The interview with Joanna Kasprzak from Apzumi, where they are the next phase of inpatient care. When patients are going home, how can we help them to make sure they don't come back? They have the right support when they are getting home and follow up with the proper physicians for the next step. Let's discover the process that Joanna and Apzumi has proposed. We're back in live, and this is Sabrina Runbeck here with Joanna Kasprzak at Apzumi. We are so excited for her to share with us your mission for your company and how are you uniquely solving a problem in healthcare.
Okay, so what's the first question?
Tell us about your mission for your company and how are you uniquely solving a problem in healthcare.
Gotcha. So at Apzumi, we are top digital health software house with mission to solve issues with health with technology. So we want to improve people's life and health and make them healthier and living better thanks to technology.
So what specific things that you guys are focusing on right now with your technology?
Oh, that's a lot of things. So over those 10 years, I think, of company's existence, we were doing many different things, starting from, MVPs and small applications for startups. Now we are grown up and we are solving bigger problems like providing telemedicine, remote rehab for patients. We are doing virtual care for seniors at home so that they can actually have access to doctors. We are doing diagnostics, remote diagnostics. So actually there's a lot of things, even personalized medicine. And what might be interesting also for your viewers, probably it's engaging all those new technologies. So not only doing those standard ones that we all know, like web or mobile applications, but also augmented and virtual reality applications, using glasses like Oculus, like Apple Vision Pro, to actually serve patients either in their homes or in hospitals or wherever they are to make their health better.
Yes, it's integrating all these existing technology and then make it more user-friendly for our patients and caregivers so they understand how to actually apply it to their own lives.
Yeah, you're totally right. So a few years ago, technology was, starting, right? So you were trying to build software that was either showing some basic data of patients and visualizing them. Now when we have AI, where we have AR, VR, and all those new technologies, we are doing much more complex stuff. So either we are, we are diagnosing, we are providing rehab, we are adjusting technology to solve patients' issues. Or actually also, on the other hand, we are supporting physicians, right, who can now connect with their patients, who can now observe them without even meeting them in person. So yeah, there's a lot you can do.
That's amazing. So how are you getting to the clients? What's your go-to-market strategy? Because there are a lot of developers out there.
So over those 10 years on the market, at the very beginning, we were only local in Poland. And we were actually gaining experience on our European market, doing enterprise software for insurance companies, but also for health companies, doing, I don't know, applications for scheduling, for EHRs, so managing electronic health records. And then through recommendations, having one successful platform and the other, then you're actually first gaining experience, being expert in the field. And through recommendations, you are actually going wider and wider. So we decided to go into US markets. And here, from one startup to the other, from smaller companies to larger ones, we are here for over 8 years now.
Yeah, that's very exciting.
Yeah, I can say that 80% of what we do is here in the US. So this is pretty exciting, and we are very happy to serve here for the patients and for the physicians.
That's amazing. So if I will give you a magic wand, and one of your biggest issues will just instantly disappear, what would that be?
Oh God, if I were a magician, I would probably love to do better diagnostics for patients. So have access to technologies that right away can analyze a lot of data and identify people before they got seriously sick. And maybe this is because personally I'm a PhD in bioinformatics, so I totally love analyzing data. But also after those 10 years, I see that actually preventing people getting sick is much better than cure, right? So
exactly,
that's what I would love to do.
So for you, it's really about allowing the patients get to your technology sooner so we can diagnose and capture.
Yeah.
Great. So we always love summits and events. We're at Vibe. So what brought you to Vibe, and what do you want to really get out of Vibe?
Okay. Well, for me personally, this is the first time here, so I'm pretty excited about everything. But for the company, this is our second time. So last year we were in Nashville, I guess. Our CEO was here, and we brought a lot of ideas for products, but also for new collaboration. And this year, this is what I'm actually looking for. So first, I want to see where the technology is going, what is new. But also I want to meet people doing new products, how we can engage them in what we already do, how we can integrate or exchange data or actually be better at what we are doing to serve our clients.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for that. Now, how can people find out more about you guys or yourself specifically?
If you want to learn about Apzumi, I think the best way is either through our website or our social media. You can also directly reach myself or our CEO. I guess we will share these contacts.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Oh, God.
That was great. Nice job.
Now, as we are closing the loop with the discharge process, bringing care home and allowing people to be recovering in the comfort of their own house. What do you think about the solution presented today in our episode? One is improving the hospital stay process for clinicians and patients, as well as the activity that Apzumi proposed on how to help the discharge process when people are leaving the hospital. Would it something like that already be things you have adapted in your practice, or something that your hospital system has already been curious to look into? What have you found as similar solutions that you actually wanted to compare side by side, and share with us some of your insights? Comment below at wherever you're listening or watching this. And again, for anyone who you truly believe can be the next impactful solution in healthcare, we want to spotlight them and help them to scale much faster. So nominate them at our Impact Awards. Go to postpointpass.com/awards. We can't wait to hear all of your recommendations and continue to drive positive changes in healthcare together. Thank you for tuning in to Provider's Edge podcast. We hope you enjoy our latest episode and found the insights and tips helpful. We'd love to hear your feedback on the show and learn what topics you'd like us to cover in the future. So please take a moment to leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform and let us know what you think. Your feedback is essential to help us improve the show and provide you with the content you need to take your healthcare business to the next level. Thank you for your support, and we look forward to hearing from you soon.